What if your search for truth is the very path that destroys you? What if knowing yourself costs you everything? This isn't just a myth. This is the story of all of us. Long before Freud unearthed the subconscious, before Shakespeare spun men into madness and ambition, there was Sophocles, a man who dared to ask the question we're still afraid of. What happens when the mask slips and you see yourself fully? Sophocles didn't merely write plays. He forged philosophical tragedies, where every word was a chisel against illusion. In Oedipus Rex, it wasn't just art, it was a prophecy, one we keep living. A story where truth isn't a light that sets you free, but a fire that consumes. He asks us not whether we want to know, but whether we can endure what we find. Sophocles was born in 496 before Common Era in Colonus, a quiet village just beyond the hum of Athens. He came of age as Greece was carving its name into history. The birth of democracy, the flowering of art, the reign of reason, civilization worshipping its own brilliance. But Sophocles saw deeper. Beneath the marble temples and philosophical debates, he sensed an unease. He lived through war, through plague, through the disintegration of the very ideals Athens had built. He was not only a dramatist, but a general in battle, a priest of the healing god Asclepius, and a public official who navigated politics and sacrifice. He had seen order and chaos. He had seen men rise by reason and fall by pride. And so he whispered through his tragedies what others dared not say aloud. What if our greatness is also our downfall? Oedipus begins as a hero, the man who defeats the Sphinx with his intellect, the man who saves a city through reason, is brilliant, brave, and relentless, a king not of bloodline but of mind. But this is not a story of ascent. It is a story of unraveling. Oedipus asks the questions others won't. He peels back layers others fear to touch. There's a plague on his city, he must find the cause. The killer, they say, walks among them. And so Oedipus searches, he interrogates, he accuses. He follows the trail with surgical precision. And then, the horror. The killer he seeks is himself. The curse upon Thebes is his own blood. The woman he shares a bed with is his mother. The prophecy he tried to flee, he has fulfilled. Solved the Sphinx's riddle, but not the one inside him. The tragedy is not that he didn't know, it's that he needed to know, even if it shattered him. Oedipus is warned by prophets, by oracles, by those who see what he doesn't. Don't dig too deep. Leave the past buried. But he can't stop, because something in him already knows. There's a fracture in the world, a wrongness under the surface, and so, like a detective of the soul, he shines light into shadow. And the truth emerges, merciless and bare. But knowledge doesn't save him, it unmakes him. He blinds himself, not as a punishment, but as a final act of sight. In seeing the truth, he can no longer bear to see the world. And yet in that darkness, he is free. Because for the first time, he is no longer deceiving himself. Was this fate or freedom? Did the gods weave this tragedy from birth? Or did Oedipus choose every step that led him here? Sophocles doesn't offer answers. He offers tension. Doesn't say, don't seek truth. He asks, what will you do when you find it? In Greek mythology, fate is spun by the Moirai, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. They spin, measure, and cut the thread of every life. But Sophocles dares to ask, are we victims of fate or collaborators in our undoing? Oedipus hears his prophecy, he tries to escape it, and in doing so, he fulfills it. Modern thinkers wrestled with this ancient riddle. Freud saw in Oedipus the power of hidden desires. Nietzsche saw nobility in tragic affirmation. Camus saw the absurd man who seeks clarity in a silent universe. But deeper still is this question. Are we brave enough to face who we really are when all illusions collapse? Sophocles wrote Oedipus Rex over 2 millennia ago, but its ghost still lingers in boardrooms, in therapy rooms, in dreams. Because we are all Oedipus. We chase success, we solve external problems, we build a self, a story, a future. But what if something deeper haunts us? What if we've built our lives on answers that never faced the real question? Who am I beneath the roles, the masks, the beliefs I inherited? The fear is not just in knowing, it's in what that knowing might destroy. A relationship, a career, an identity. And yet the longing to know remains, because some part of us would rather see and break than live forever in the dark. We began with a question. What if the search for truth is the very path that destroys you? But maybe destruction isn't the end. Maybe it's the beginning. Because in the moment of collapse, Oedipus stops pretending. In blindness, he sees. In exile, he awakens. He's no longer the king, no longer the hero, no longer the myth. He is just a man, broken, bare, and true. And maybe that is the price of truth. But maybe it's also the only way to become whole. If you felt this, if something stirred in you, don't stop here. Curious for more? Subscribe to Philowhisp, where great minds whisper and your soul listens.